Really good to be back again here on Breakfast Central. It's midweek, it's Wednesday, and how fast time runs. I mean, just a few hours ago, we're talking about Monday, how the weekend was. And here we are today on a Wednesday. We are right back for Breakfast Central on News Central. Just in case you missed out on some of the, very exciting moments here at News Central all through yesterday, well, don't worry. We have some of the updates taking you back to what happened yesterday. And in case you want to catch up, you can go on our social media space on YouTube, Facebook, or you can call it Meta. Not forgetting to Instagram and the like, so you can watch us live. By the way, welcome to Wednesday's edition. Joe Hansen, yes, that's my name, and I'll hand it over to Ole.
They know your name, they cannot forget your name.
When I used to be on radio, I used to say, Joe Hansen, be my name. A lot of people will see me on the and it's not formal English, I can't say that.
I get that.
Yeah.
All right, I'm very excited to be here again. Thank you for joining us. When Joe Hansen made reference to a continuation of some of the conversations we had yesterday, one of them will be the interview with Kenneth Okonkwo. We'll bring out some excerpts from that interview. We did have a continuation of that we'll hopefully bring to you today, as well as other stories that we've been tracking around the country, from Mokwa to, other parts of the country, really. We'll share what the top stories are. My name is Olive Emodi, and thank you for joining us. I'm very excited this morning because, I did TGIT.
Oh, yeah.
No. So in Nigeria, it's interesting how we adopted certain things.
Yeah.
So there's TGIF, there's Taco Tuesday. There are people that taco is not it's not Nigerian.
Not the tacos, like the tacos itself.
So people now do Taco
Tuesday.
Tuesday. I went out in celebration of my birthday. In this life, have rich friends. Shout out to one of my rich friends that sponsored us. Shout out to
this economy.
It's pound sterling. I ate somebody's pound sterling. Those currencies that have name and surname, pound sterling. It's so great. It was really great. It was great to be able to go out and knowing that I had to be out.
For Tuesday yesterday.
So I didn't have tacos. I had a 3-course meal, very, very yummy 3-course
Wow.
meal. Imagine me starting the show Wednesday with so much joy talking about food because I went out yesterday.
It's breakfast, so
I know. Breakfast, where they're not to give us breakfast.
Blend it. I mean, come on.
Coffee, is it breakfast?
Coffee, guys. Coffee, guys. By the way, I'm going to ensure that we start having bread on set. Bread.
You are who?
So what we're talking about the issues in Nigeria, just to calm down, we just take bread, put small butter there, and press it down with.
Do you know why I won't eat the bread?
Why?
The Holy Book says, "Man shall not live by bread alone."
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can live by rice and beans.
I'm happy this is.
What am I standing on this side? This spirit of Benga, this is my behavior. That's what I'm already saying.
By the way, Benga is not joining us today. Benga will miss you, by the way. But
this
we know.
na lie. This old boys club people are doing, because when I was away, you did not miss me. When you were away, we missed you. Now Benga is away, you want to miss Benga. When I decide to go away, you will not cry on the show. I will not say
it's right time men need to speak how they feel. I mean, we're going to miss you, Benga, and we hope that you'll be back on Friday, because you won't be around today and tomorrow. But Friday, we look forward to see you. So, stay true.
Actually, we do miss you, Benga. Stay well. We look forward to reconnecting with you on Friday again. Anyway, it would seem that there might be peace in our hearts.
I like how you said it would seem.
Yes. Hey!
It would seem.
Okay, I'm now going to link it. It would seem that there might be peace as Sim has seen the president.
Lovely. Nice.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I give you a 9 over 10.
I really appreciate that. I dedicate that 9 over 10 to my fans all over the world. Thank you so much. Governor Fubara visited President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in Lagos. There was a picture that emerged, and people have been trying to interpret what is the meaning of this picture. They say the picture speaks 1,000 words, and this one is speaking thousands of words. Many are alluding to the fact that this meeting is, of course, as we count down to his reinstallation as the executive governor of Rivers State. Recall that he was, I wanted to say fired, but not fired, suspended from his office as the executive governor of Rivers State, a suspension that caused a stir, with many calling it undemocratic, saying that the executive president cannot fire or suspend an executive governor. But after, I was just thinking about that this morning, about how it caused a lot of stir. And after all the back and forth, eventually, it felt like everybody got to the program, as it is with many other conversations.
That's
and, political issues in Nigeria.
Yeah, people always get with the program. The same suspended governor came out to also say 2 weeks ago that, I mean, he agrees with the president. Great job, Mr. President, for having stepped in. And I'm saying thank you for stepping in. And, you know, in other words, he was saying it was good you suspended me. It was good you stepped in to ensure that you balance, you know, the arguments. And his supporters didn't like that, especially those staunch supporters. They were like, why is he now changing the tune of his, you know, sound or music? And then, prior to that, last week, he had also come out to say, you know what, he's not ready to fight. That do they really think that he's even interested in going back to that? Now look at me.
I know we talked about that.
Now look at me, like you said. Can't you see I'm looking, you know, fresher,
and we talked
younger,
about that. The supporters of
so
Governor Fubara spoke for him that it wasn't like he literally meant it. It was more of a figurative statement that we a literal interpretation to it. We had Jake Pele here. We asked him, you know, are we saying that Governor Fubara is tired? I said, no, he's not tired, but he's been through a lot, and after a while, he's just trying to say, look, I'm not desperate. It's not a do or die affair anymore. But then again, the one thing that is certain, I visited Port Harcourt, and I'm sure you did.
Yeah, sure.
I visited Port Harcourt 2 weeks back, and it's interesting. This man does have a huge support. The people in his state love him. The protest happened. The protests have died down. But in time, we'll get to find out what the next steps are regarding Governor Fubara. And if this meeting with the president means that there will now be some form of light in River State. Remember that there are key players in River State, Governor Fubara, former Governor NYSC, you know, and in this case now the president who has stepped in. But the one thing that you would see here is when the president first stepped in, he was criticized. When he didn't step in the second time, he was criticized. You
so
do your damned, you don't, you're damned. I don't know what they want to
apply the Nigerian proverbial pidgin English statement. He should come and be going. Which one should he do?
That's the thing. You
because you don't know what. So the president has done what he has done, and I think, whether we like it or not, if you look at it in a clear context, I mean, we've had guests who have joined us, and some of the questions being asked are: one, if you were the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, knowing fully well what River State means to Nigeria in terms of its you know, national impact, and not forgetting to the rich natural resources that the state has, what would you have done? Would you have given freedom for this argument, this fight, this rift, this dissension to continue, or would you have, you know, stepped in, having the powers, being the number one commander in chief, and not forgetting to being the number one citizen who has the power and the wherewithal to say, listen, I am going to douse this fire, and I'm going to keep every single thing going on smoothly and perfectly.
That second standpoint you're bringing in is a very Nigerian thing, where we oftentimes don't know how to keep our house in order until someone at the helm of a first person. You know, you are in a workplace. You don't know what you ought to do until your boss comes and instructs you when you're not a child. We need to move past politics and politicking that involves people. Again, it's some sort of eye service politics where you know what to do. You should be able to work independently without that much supervision. They're not babies, right? They should have been able to. Besides, they're not even from the president's political party. They're both from the People's Democratic Party. The president is an all progressives Congress.
Well, one of them is. The other one is.
Well, but officially, PDP, both of them are PDP. So we need to get to the point where we can run politics and governance without having to drag the president into every single thing. Where you're not saying, these two people are not working together. President, come and say something about this. There are times when the call for the president will be very important. I mean, look at what's happening in Mokwa. There are citizens who have lost their lives. I was watching one of the interviews we did here at News Central, where one man said he lost 9 people.
9 people.
He lost 5 adults, 5 children and 4 women. 9 people, 1 person in the flood. Those are the things that I think that are very important for the president to step into and speak about. You know, go there, commiserate with the people, which is something that we saw the governor of, I've forgotten the state, governor of Borno State do when his people were bedeviled with insecurity. He went to the communities,
took the forefront
overnight in these endangered communities for 3 nights with the military, even though people were saying to him, Mr. Governor, this thing is not wise for you to do. He said no. And I thought that was impeccable show of strength, leadership and unity to say that, we're struggling and we're united in our struggle. So those are the kind of things I would say that the president should be focusing on.
I mean, that's
move away from politics. That's
what leadership is about, and that's what we saw the governor of Borno State showed, like you said, character by going at the forefront, staying at the forefront, marching with the people, telling them, listen, let's go, and that's exactly what he done. But then again, we also hear that the peace committee that was set up internally while I was at River State when we had the town hall. We also had members of the Jaw Youth Forum and so on and so on. They said, yes, that the peace deal is almost done. So when you see Governor Siminalayi Fubara holding and shaking hands with the president, and then you also hear the FCT minister during his media chat say that Governor Siminalayi Fubara did come to apologize and beg, then you can put one and two together and understand that very soon, very, very soon, peace will actually be sealed and the people of River State can have their governor back on the conditions that the following XYZ he will abide to.
What are those conditions? Anyway, one of the
Olive, we cannot start. I mean, we've spilled out these conditions.
We don't know what the conditions are.
Well, it's obvious. It's clear. No, I mean,
what do you think we can't.
So the conditions, if you look at it holistically, it's simply a case of I brought you into power. And therefore, we had an agreement. That's why the FCT minister will say, agreement is agreement. Okay.
This is Ibiyeomie who has responded to the tweet, who has put out a tweet as well.
Yes.
He shows the photos of Sim Fubara, saying, Governor Sim Fubara of Rivers, now on suspension from office. Mr. President Bola Tinubu in Lagos on Tuesday, photo State House. If you go to the comment section.
Did he have to put now on suspension?
Like you don't know. If you go to the comment section, I want to read a few tweets from this Ibiyeomie's comment section. One person said, Tinubu and his cohort saw through the gentlemanly nature of Fubara and they took advantage and did what they did to him and the Rivers people. Try it with a radical person and Tinubu will be the one begging to retain his position as the president.
I don't agree.
After suspending the constitution of Nigeria and running the country like his private enterprise. If you're born a man, try as much as possible to be a man. This is from Mezie Abia. Another person, Samuel Ise 3, says, very soon this guy will start washing plates in Tinubu's house just to please him. Politics and politicking. How foolish does it sound to you that an elected governor is suspended? You people have destroyed whatever was left of democracy in Nigeria, Mr. Gen Z says. And final tweet I'll take will say, no, I can't take this one. This one is a bit radical. Okay. Anyway, if you go to Ibiyeomie's page,
it's fine.
You see the tweets. I don't know that.
It's eliciting mixed reactions from the pro supporters of Fubara and the supporters of former governor, and now FCT minister Nyesom Wike. But the point is this: just as we had concluded at the town hall, everyone should sue for peace. Bottom line. Everything should just get back to what it was and let the people of River State just move on. I mean, there's a lot to do. The sole administrator has done budget defense. Even the president had sent the budget to the National Assembly for approval, and it's a budget for the state, River State. And whether we like it or not, let's just be honest to ourselves, not with, but to every Nigerian, that there seems to be an iota. Even if you don't want to say iota, there seems to be a clear, I'm trying to find the word so I don't sound negative, but there seems to be a clear indication. It's just obvious that there's something wrong with this entire process because it's not being supported in the Nigerian constitution, whether you like it or not. We've had lawyers who have explained it. I mean,
you don't support it. The suspension has...
we agree, but that's why we're saying let's just get back to what it is. See, let's say it here today. You can mark today's date. And we're not soothsayers here on News Central's Breakfast Central, but we're just going to say we're setting a precedent of what would happen in the near future. Because guess what will happen? Should you have someone else take the reins or sit down as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and there should be any slight issue in one state or the other, that person will always refer back to this situation and would even decide to do more by saying, after all, remember, when arguments came up concerning this suspension, what was everyone doing? They were taking you back to President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan's time. After all, he did this. Then they also took you to Obasanjo's time. After all, but there was a neglect on some of the reasons why this was done. There was insecurity issue. There was so on. Those areas were not highlighted.
Of governors, because of how much criticism it garnered when President Olusegun Obasanjo did it. When President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan announced the state of emergency, was advised, see, what your predecessor did, when President Obasanjo did this, he wasn't taking kindly to. So there was a state of emergency, but he did not make any suspension of governors.
Thank you.
So people had assumed that if you announce a state of emergency, they should do. I mean, the state of emergency wasn't what a number of us saw coming, but the suspension was, I think, was the most shocking part of it.
So you see it. It's moving to another level. From just state of emergency, it's now going to suspension. From suspension, is going to
and I agree with you in the sense that
sole administrator is going to the duration 6 months.
Yeah.
And they said if the 6 months, just as the Senate President has said, if after 6 months they look, it's not, they might extend.
And I agree with you that we are setting how a standard for how things will be done. This might be powers that will be manipulated in the future. These are the concerns. The legality and maybe not legality, the constitutionality of an executive elected president being able to suspend another elected official was the cause of discourse.
Because
we never could come to a conclusion. It did seem that regardless of all the criticism that the experts, the lawyers, analysts had put forward, none of them seemed to make sense. But the flip side would be, they would ask you, if the Constitution provides for the president to, declare a state of emergency, what will the shape of the state of emergency look like? Saying, oh, there's a state of emergency in Rivers State, what would that look like? Would that look like, the governor still sitting there, and then what next, right? So I don't think and this is one question I'd ask, I don't know if we have what really is a very, very clear picture of the procedure that should happen right after a state of emergency is announced. But these are areas that I'm hoping that in the nearest future, can be sorted. And I'm hoping that, like you're predicting, it will not be something that will be exploited.
Yeah, I mean, in the future, because if you have another leader, let's call it another president, who will sit there, the next thing you would hear is, okay, fine, should there be any issue in one state or the other, then they could just decide to say, you know what, there's a state of emergency declared, and then they would decide to take it to another level. And then Nigerians would have to start going back and forth and saying, oh, remember they did this, and then there will be justification for such actions.
Maybe sit down and look. Let's move to our next story. It was a particular clip where Pastor David Ibiyeomie had said that they should not carry his videos. He'd said journalists should not carry, nobody should carry his videos. He said, stop talking about me. Whether it's good or bad, stop talking about me.
He's going to arrest you.
And he said that they will lock you up.
In his words, lock you up. And
this, of course, has garnered several reactions. One of the people who has reacted to this video is Martin Osei, a very dark black man, who has criticized Pastor David Ibiyeomie. Some people, I don't know if there's a relationship, maybe there are several sides to the story. I've seen several camps who say that Pastor David Ibiyeomie is related to, his mentor is Bishop Oyedepo, and maybe, well, you know what, I don't even want to go into details of what may have been said, but I think, not to play devil's advocate, in the video of him saying that a number of people watch his services, that they come to church, watch his service not because they want to be blessed, but they cut bits and pieces together to form a narrative to put out there. And he criticized all of that and said he doesn't want anybody taking his clips again, and he's threatening them, saying that if you take my clips, I will arrest you. Your father and your mother, I know that they will not, your father and mother cannot beg for you. One, on his own part, I think it reveals the frustration of being in the public light, frustration of being misconstrued, misunderstood. And it's easy to criticize things like that when you've not been in the spotlight, where people are misconstruing what you're saying or, dragging you, like we say here in Nigeria. So I'm going to put forth arguments for two sides of the divide. The first side being that I can understand and empathize with your frustration, being a public figure, being somebody that preaches and then the audience takes clips and remixes it to suit a narrative that they want to push out there so that you can be trolled and cyberbullied on social media. However, there's a way to go about it. If you feel that your rights have been infringed upon, you feel that people are trying to push a narrative that is untrue, the way to go about it is to sue them. There are ways, there are legal options for this.
Absolutely.
What's threatening to arrest and lock people up is, again, a poor reflection on Nigeria's criminal administration system, particularly the police that have been used to wrongfully set the law in motion against many Nigerians. People of power and influence often have been accused of, when you step on their toes, they use the police, arrest you, lock you up. The people who have been in prison for weeks, months, years, that have not even been allowed to go to court and take a plea because they offended some rich person somewhere. Flashback to President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan's wife, First Lady, and the criticism about some people having robbed her and how they had been in jail for the longest time, right? That, again, is indicative of the poor and the decay and rot in our criminal administration system. So it's a poor reflection of the Nigerian police, right? So there are so many things, so many angles to that. If you want to be a public figure, as a public figure, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
The media, the audience, people would truly say they should not take his news. Here we are discussing it on TV now.
Yeah, I mean, because we would discuss it. And there's a reason why we would discuss it. Because you've put it out there. And you putting it out there, it's not just you put it, there's a difference when one thing people need to understand, whether you do good or you do bad.
People always have an
opinion. That's one. Secondly, you didn't just put it out there, but many have called it spiritual intimidation. You've also intimidated members of the public, and you've told them that, listen, if you talk about me or use whatever I've said or whatever, or troll me or say anything, I'm going to arrest you and I'm going to lock you up. That's a strong statement. So I'm also going to look at it from two aspects, okay?
Okay. The
first aspect is this. I mean, I think human rights activist and lawyer David Ibiyeomie also reacted to it. I think he tweeted about this statement he made as well. Hopefully we can get that tweet up. But the two aspects we can look at it is this. One, the person you're following, who is Christ, they throw you reach out. They even beat him, spat on him, did all sorts to him. They dealt with him. They even killed him. Anyway, let's see what David Ibiyeomie says before I go back to my point. He said, I'm so disappointed in Papa David Ibiyeomie warning and threatening Nigerians to talk or criticize him, or not to talk or criticize him or his church, else he will lock them up. Who are you, sir, that people can't talk about your church or criticize you? People criticized Jesus and he did not lock them up, and boasting about using police to lock people up. A pastor. These pastors are acting like unbelievers and demarcating Christianity. They are the reason many people are no longer going to church. Full stop. Now, a religious leader talking like this, what will you now expect from politicians when they become dictatorial? I think the obvious is there. And while we agree that it hurts when people use your clip or talk negatively against you, the question I have, Olive, I have so many questions. When I saw that clip, I
actually want to open a portion of scripture while we're
now talking. You ask me why I'm laughing. I mean, it's just clear. Who is a Christian?
A follower of Christ.
So what is did Jesus? Even the same Bible says Jesus did not go about threatening, even when he was being, dealt with unjustly. So he didn't go about. Let me finish. Let me finish my point. I'm coming. He didn't threaten. He didn't say, I will lock you up. Even his own disciples that betrayed him, he didn't tell him, I will deal with you, I will lock you up. Remember, I always say this, Jesus had powers. He could have just looked at someone and do like this, and the person would turn to a mice or whatever. He had those powers. But he showed by example that, listen, this is what it means. And
he was mocked even up until the cross. They called him King of the Jews.
I get worried with this type of footage. So the followers now, his followers now, I have a question for them. Is this Christ-like? It's just a clear question. I don't need answers. Think, is this Christ-like?
So, I think I'm also learning that before people are men of God, they are first of all men. And they are prone to making mistakes. I don't think that there's a situation where pastors or men of God sometimes don't, I mean, there's a part where sometimes flesh can step in. But the most important thing is if you are guided by a relationship, a deep relationship and an intimacy with God,
scriptures,
you know, there will be the Holy Spirit will quicken your heart to know that you stepped out of order. And then you will come back either to apologize or take accountability
so is he going to apologize
for your actions. Well, I mean, I don't know. But I do think that might not be the greatest mindset in terms of feeling like you can oppress and threaten people
that's
because
not
speak about you. And in response to what you were talking about, Matthew 5 verse 10 to 12, I'm not reading the 2, but it said, blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. But the thing is, Jesus was able to handle that. We are human. Sometimes,
Olive, but there are many now.
Yes. So I'm saying
the Lord's Jeremiah helped.
Oh yes, I know. I agree with you that a lot of the prophets. John the Baptist. Look at how John the Baptist's life ended.
Did they
just
come
because of one girl dancing.
I will lock you up.
I understand. Nah. So what I'm saying, and I'm not trying to hold brief. What I'm saying is, at the end of the day, they are first human before they are men of God. And we must learn to...
I'm sorry, I'm making excuses for
I'm
this?
Not making excuses. I'm saying I already criticized that it's a wrong mindset. It's wrong to communicate that. However, I'm also saying that I see past... And because we've deified religious leaders in Nigeria in a way that almost makes some people wonder, are you worshiping God or are you worshiping your leader? Right? So I see past all of that and see that these people are first of all men before they are men of God. There have been times I've listened to certain sermons and I think this sermon is great, but sometimes I'm like, that one not quite enter. And it comes from us being on our own, being able to find an intimate relationship with God. So such that you know when this person is veering off scriptures, that this one is not supported by scripture. This one is their own flesh interpreting this portion of scripture to mean, and people hide under the guise of, you know, touching not my anointed. I'm not touching your anointed. What I'm saying is know God for yourself. I think that's some of what I'm trying to say. Every man, know God for yourself. Honor your men of God. Honor the pastors, but know God for yourself. And for those who are Christians, I would say pray for your religious leaders. Pray that, you know, at the end of the day, when the flesh tries to kick in and when emotions try to kick in, that they're able to rein it in. Jesus could do it easily. We're still a work in progress. We're not there yet.
I think, personally, I think he should apologize.
Okay. I don't have
anyone who says, no, I think he should apologize. That's a threat, and that's a very strong statement. And like you said from the beginning, anyone watching us knows that if you feel someone has done something wrong, use the legal means. The Nigerian Constitution allows you to feel free to say, oh, now we're talking about libel, defamation of character. Okay, this person, there's defamation of character. My lawyers, he has lawyers. Okay, lawyers, please write to this person. There's a defamation of character against my person. And then they invite the person. Then you can sort it out. But you see, when you mount the pulpit, I mean, who are we to tell you what to do, what not to do? But when it comes to the tenets of, in quotes, what we stand for, which is Christianity, it doesn't allow this, where you tell people if I will. And you know what bothers me most, Olive? If we don't talk about this, guess what? We're going to come back here on set and talk about how the police arrested a musician or a plumber and locked him up for 6 months. And because he was locked up, people couldn't get him because there was a powerful man on the street who had power and said, lock him up. But this is the one who is teaching people not to do so. But before their eyes, he's now coming to say, I would also lock you up. So who is different? We're fighting terrorism at one side, where videos were emerging yesterday of how they've killed our gallant soldiers. And then we're coming back to say, oh, we're struggling with terrorism. These people are killing and they're making videos and threats. Now, the one that people have hope on is also threatening them. So where Nigerians are wrong, where are we going to? If you are supposed to be safe, with the one that's supposed to be safe is now threatening you that if you do to him, he will lock you up. So Is it a banana republic? Everybody's locking everybody
it's just
up.
emotions.
Olive, if you do any, I'll lock you up.
Emotions and anger. Sometimes we say lots of things that we don't mean.
Come on.
And I don't want to believe that he would genuinely go and pick everybody
But I think, honestly,
upsets.
there should be an unreserved apology. That I may have been angry, and I said this because it's unchristian, and said I will lock you up. Because he hasn't gone through what some of the prophets even went through. Half.
Oh yeah, you don't do. Let's go.
Anyway, Kopashon,
Wow. This is a great time to be an NYSC core member, whether someone who's currently a core member or someone who served. And at the time when you were earning 33,000, if you were someone who was earning 33,000, when the 77,000 became approved, guess what? You're in luck. Because they're going to be paying arrears, salary arrears, 44,000 naira per month. And that comes to cumulatively, I think, 325,000 naira, I'm not sure, but a little over 300,000 naira. So for every month you were not paid your 77,000 naira, reports reaching us is that you will be paid a total of over 300,000 naira.
Yes.
So that they're trying to basically make up
33, 77.
That's
so
what I'm
make
saying.
Up for the arrears.
That's what I'm saying, that for the month they were paid 33,000 naira. If when they had given the policy and approved the 77,000 naira policy, they're going to now pay 44,000 naira for each of those months to match up to, I think, 352,000 naira, which is a balling figure for somebody who's just done with NYSC. You have your 352,000 naira to start, do whatever it is you want to do, settle in with your new job. I'm hoping you've gotten a new job.
Oliver,
buy a few new things.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me, Papa.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
I'm not thinking. Talk to me.
Can you look at my attire?
You want to go and save?
Can you see?
You want to go and save?
What do I look like?
The shoulder pad is high.
What do I look like?
Kopawiwa.
I'll be back. Give them the headlines. Let me go and collect my 44,000.
No, you're not one of them.
No, we have to date back.
No.
President Tinubu's ambition must go back.
No, like my brother.
Back.
Yours right now, you are really like, in terms of, assessing coppers, you're like a dinosaur. Because you served ages ago, in the Stone Age, that's when you served.
Our top stories today are as follows. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. Let's bring you our top stories according to the dinosaur.
Okay, let's show top stories.